Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining. We'll just wait a couple of minutes and let people join in to the call, and then we'll make a start. The Q&A section is open, so if you do have any questions as we're going along, please do feel free to pop them in there, and we will make a start. We'll just give everybody a couple more seconds, and then we will get going. While we wait, this is being recorded as well, and everybody is on mute with your cameras off whilst we go through. But like I said, the Q&A is open, so please do feel free to pop any questions you've got within that, and we will do our best to answer those as we go through. So my name is Pete. I am Head of Partnerships here at Flourish. I'm going to go through the Learning Development Support Scheme today. So if anybody else is expecting a different webinar, this isn't the one. This is all about LDSS and how you can claim and things like that. And we're going to go through the process and look at some of the evidence that's required, some of the courses that you can claim for and things like that. So let's go straight into it. So what is the Learning and Development Support Scheme? So a lot of people may have heard of it as LDSS. Okay, so it's a government funded scheme that reimburses adult care employers in England, must state it's in England only, for certain training and qualifications. Now, it replaced the Workforce Development Fund last year. So in April 2025, this came into effect. Okay, now there are three things that you need to have in order to qualify for the Learning Development Support Scheme. You must be providing an adult social care service in England. You must directly employ care staff in England, and you have to be updated and up to date on the adult social care workforce data set. Okay, so you must be compliant on there in order to submit your claims. We're going to go through that section in a second. The LDSS covers diplomas and certain training courses. Okay, so if you're doing your level 2 care certificate, you're doing your level 3, 4, 5s, those you can claim back funding for once you've completed the courses. Training courses such as well-led, lead to succeed, and leading change, improving care, again, you can claim back. Now, the LDSS have put a full list of all of the courses on their website that you can claim for, and we will make that available to everybody so you can have a look at it and you can go through from there. Okay. So we've got things like end of life care, communication, dementia, autism, learning disabilities. Those are also included. Now, there are two pots to the Learning Development Support Scheme. One is the Oliver McGowan pot. Now, that is a separate pot to all of the other courses. And there is a limit of £25,000. And I believe it's per setting. I'm trying to clarify this with the LDSS and BHSA, whether that is per setting or per organisation. I believe it's per setting. If anybody knows and wants to correct me on that, that would be great. But it's per setting is my understanding. So for each home or each service, you can claim up to £25,000 through Oliver McGowan training. So that's the tier 1 and tier 2, the webinar and the face-to-face training. Okay. The other part is for all the other courses that are listed. So things like your diplomas, the care certificate level 2, the training courses such as the well-led, lead to succeed, and leading change, improving care. Now those, there is a maximum pot per organisation of £400,000. Okay, so there is no longer a limit per person, but there is a limit per organisation. Once you've hit that limit, you can't claim anymore. Once both pots are empty, you can't claim anymore. So if you are putting in claims, if you are looking to do courses, it's better to do them earlier and get them done as quick as possible, because you know more pot's going to be available than towards the end of the year. Okay, so it is better to get that course in and get that claim in as soon as possible. So in order to claim, there are certain pieces of evidence that you need to gather. So whenever you complete one of the courses, whenever you set one of the courses up, you can do the claims. Now, for things like your diplomas and qualifications, and it's really important I'm saying qualifications here, there is a 60-40 split. If it is a training course, you claim the funding at the end of the course. With the 60-40 split for qualifications, once you have paid for the qualifications, you can claim 60% of the money up front. Okay, so if you've paid the £1,500 for the care certificate, you can claim 60% of that as soon as you've paid the invoice. But you have to claim that within 3 months. To do that, you need proof of payment. Okay, so you need something that shows your organization name, the name of the organization that you've paid to deliver the course, and the name of the course on there with the course code. Okay, you submit that within 3 months of paying for the course, and then you can claim that 60% up front. That also has to show the amount that's been paid, the valid VAT number, unless it's an exempt organization, and the date of payment. Okay. At the end of that qualification, you need the certificate and everything else that you've submitted in order to claim the remaining 40%. Now, I've double checked this. If someone starts a qualification and you claim the 60% up front, my understanding is you do not have to refund the 60% from the claim up front. Now, I've checked this, I've gone through this, and that is my understanding, okay? And I can't see any guidance on the LDSS website that says if someone leaves, you have to pay that money back to the LDSS because you've submitted a genuine claim for that, okay? You obviously can't claim the remaining 40% because they haven't completed the course. For the training courses, you need all of that information, but you can't claim until they have completed the course because you need the certificate. Okay, so you need that certificate in order to submit the claim at the end. Now, that certificate should show the training course name, the training course code, the individual's name, and the date they completed the course. For training courses, you have to submit the claim within 3 months of them completing it. Okay, so you can't do the claim after 3 months. You have to get that claim in as soon as they've completed it. Now, there are actually, I've put down 5 steps to start your claim. The first one, regardless of everything else, is you need to register with the NHS BSA. Now, this can take a while, so I would suggest if you're not registered with them, get onto the system and register with the NHS BSA. Okay. What happens is you create an account with them. They will then get in touch with you to verify your details and go through everything with you. Once you've been approved and they've completed your onboarding, then you're able to submit claims, provided you meet step 2, which is your ASC WDS, your Adult Social Care Workforce Dataset account is compliant and up to date. Now, when you log on to the ASC WDS, you will see if it's compliant or not on there, and you'll be able to go through and find any information you need to complete in order to be compliant. You do need to keep checking your account to make sure you remain compliant. So you do have to keep updating this. ASC WDS is really important as well. All of the data and information you put in there goes into the state of the social care workforce report that comes in around about October from Skills for Care, and also puts in towards the amount of budget we get for the learning development support scheme. Okay, so although you have to fill in a lot of information, it actually pays out and has its rewards of doing it, because it helps the sector by increasing that pot of money that's available for funding. Once you're compliant, once you've got your NHS BSA, if you haven't already, choose your relevant training program. Find your primary program. Is it a qualification? Is it a training course? Which one do I want to do? Which one am I going to complete? Look for the quality assured care learning services. Okay, so they are the services that have completed the quality assured care learning service consent or endorsement from the government. So those organizations have been checked, they've been reviewed, their content's been reviewed, and they are licensed to deliver those courses. Okay, now certain ones will only be licensed under certain courses. For example, Flourish, we are licensed to deliver the Well-Led, Lead to Succeed, Leading Change, Improving Care, and 3 CPD modules. We don't do any other courses or diplomas, but you can find your training provider. You look for the Quality Assured Care Learning Service logo or the QACLS logo, and that will tell you your eligible training providers. Okay. Once you've picked your course, book and pay for it. Okay, so book your training with the provider, make sure you've got the dates, check that whoever you're booking onto complete the course, so they can do all of the dates, or they can do the course, they can put in the time and the work, because you don't want to pay for something that you can't claim back and you can't switch someone to do if you need to. Okay, we get experience a lot of that, where we book people on and then they can't do dates. Luckily, we can move people to different dates to support them to complete the programs. But if you book someone on and they leave, and you've done a diploma or qualification and they can't complete it, you lose that 40% that you can't claim up front. Okay, so really important, support your teams, look into, can you do this? Can you put the time in that's needed in order to complete that course and do that qualification? And then step 5 is submit your claim. So like I said, you've got a 3-month claim window. When you complete any of the courses or the qualifications, you have 3 months after the completion date to submit your claim. Okay, really, really important. I state this, it's 3 months. If you put your claim in on the last day and NHS BSA reject it, we have heard where people are unable to claim that money because they resubmit the claim and it's outside the 3 months, even though they've already submitted the claim previously within the 3 months. So really important to get your claims in as soon as possible in order to get that money back. With the 60% for the qualifications and the 40% after completion, like I said, 60%, as soon as you've paid the invoice, you can submit your claim within 3 months of paying the invoice. Okay, they don't, if you read the legislation and the guidance, they don't have to have completed the course, because it says within 3 months of paying. Okay, and then you can get your 60% back. Now, if you do cancel any of your courses and you don't pay the invoice, or you do pay the invoice but you cancel, and then you get a refund from the organizer or the training provider, they can claim the money back from you. Okay, so it's really important, if you do book someone on, they do need to complete the programs, because otherwise the money will be claimed back by NHS BSA to you. Okay. Hopefully that is really, really clear. Like I said, at Flourish, we provide 3 of the programs. So we provide the Well-Led, Lead to Succeed, and Leading Change Improving Care programs. These are leadership development programs that we are licensed to deliver under Skills for Care. So we're a quality assured care learning service for these 3 programs. And like I said, we're building the 3 CPD modules at the moment and hoping to have those in the next couple of months available to book on. These 3 courses are all about soft skills and leadership development. So these are, in fact, I'm going to change that. I'm not going to call it soft skills. I'm going to call it human skills. If anybody's seen my podcast recently, Carolina from the Care Workers Charity said they're human skills, not soft skills. These courses talk about human skills and supporting people and giving you those human skills as a leader that sometimes aren't always taught and can go through. These 3 courses, you can claim back the full amount from the Learning and Development Support Scheme upon completion. Okay. Now, I've gone through all of that and it's only taken me 15 minutes. It will take you a while to get onto the NHS BSA for them to do your registrations and to get your adult social care workforce data set up to date. But it is worth the time to do it because of how it supports the sector, how it supports you as an organisation, and with the cost of living going up and the cost of running a business going up and everything else that's happening, actually sometimes doing that, claiming some of that money back, can also help you as an organisation. Now, like I said earlier on, reimbursement is not guaranteed. Okay, so there is no guarantee that you will get your money back. If the pots are empty, you will not get the money back. If for any reason you miss the deadlines, you don't submit your claims within time, or you're missing evidence, you may not get your money back as well. So it's really, really important that you submit all of the data, all of the evidence, everything you need to submit. Sometimes over submitting, giving too much evidence is better than under submitting. As with anything, the more you can give, the better. When you're looking at invoices as well, make sure the invoice has everything you need on it. Now, if you have, let's say, purchased a program for Lead to Succeed, and there is a program price and it doesn't show a price per delegate or the number of delegates, go back to the training provider and ask them to put on there the number of delegates and the cost per delegate, because you will need that on the invoice in order to claim. Okay, so you have to have that evidence, that information on the invoice. It has to break it down by the individual. Okay. Also, just to touch on, so any member of staff who is legally employed in the UK or in England, sorry, there's no requirement for UK nationals to have lived in the UK for a certain amount of time in order to claim. Okay, so if you have an international worker, they've come over, they'd be interested in completing a qualification or one of the training courses, they don't have to have lived in the UK for a certain amount of time in order to do that and claim back. Okay, certain training providers may require they've lived in the UK for a certain amount of time, but in order to claim, there is no requirement for them to have lived in the UK. Okay. It's also worth stating previously with the Workforce Development Fund for, let's say, Lead to Succeed, I think when back then you could claim £500. If the course cost you 300 plus VAT, with the Workforce Development Fund, you could claim the full £500. With the Learning and Development Support Scheme, if the course cost you £300 plus VAT, you can only claim back what you spent. You cannot claim the full amount that is available unless you have spent the full amount. Okay, so you can only claim what you spend on the courses. So that is it from me. Let's have a look. We'll have a quick look at the chat and the Q&A. Katie,
And
have we had
Pete,
any questions?
yeah, we have a few inquiries about the Oliver McGowan training. So one of them asks, the LDSS guidance states in-house training is when a trainer is employed by an adult social care provider registered with the CQC to internally deliver a section of Oliver training to its staff. So does it cover adult social care local authority service, or is it only for care providers?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would need to check the guidance on that. My understanding would be if you have paid for that course to be delivered, then you can claim. If you're doing it internally and you're not paying for the course to be delivered, you can't claim because there's no money changing hands. So if you're employing an external provider or the local authority is running the course and you have purchased a place on the course, then yes, you can claim it back. But if you are employed by the organization and the organization runs the course, then I would probably say no, you can't claim it. But my advice would be to check with the LDSS team and NHS BSA to confirm that, would be my advice on that one.
So we just have some response in the chat. So Ellen is saying we have claimed back for external providers to deliver Oliver McGowan training. So I think that's my answer, Sophie questions.
Yeah, if it's an
And
external training provider and they're external to your organization, you can claim. If it's internal training, then my understanding is you can't claim. Oh, okay, smaller amount. Someone's just said in the chat if it's in-house. So I will double check that anyway, and we can put that up on the website later on.
yep. So Karen is asking, do you know when the Oliver McGowan Fund reopens for claims? Now they have announced new funding. Cheese.
So my understanding is the new funder is available now. They have said that the funding's live, so you can start submitting your claims now, is my understanding. I haven't heard that people are unable to submit claims. The funding period generally runs from the 1st of April to the 31st of March the next year. So if as soon as they've announced it, it's live and available to claim for. And that's both pots, by the way.
Right, thanks, Pete. We have another one for the Oliver McGowan training. So this one is saying, I registered with LDSS and never received a telephone call back with an appointment day. We have since commenced Oliver McGowan training from a registered provider and now needs to claim it back. How can I claim after the deadline date in March 2026?
Um, so if it's outside the 3 month period, I don't think you'll be able to claim it. What I would do is reach out to NHS BSA. They do have a contact email address on their website that you can reach out to and say you've registered. Alternatively, you could try and do a second registration. It may be that something's been missed or you've slipped through the cracks. So I would reach out to NHS BSA to find out what's going on with your account, and then they will be able to support you from there.
Thanks, Pete. So we have another questions asking, where do we find the list of QACLS provider lists, please? I'm struggling to find them.
Yes, so there is a website. We will find that and pop that up. If you search for Learning Development Support Scheme on Google, it's the government website that comes up, and it does say list of qualifications and training courses that are funded within that, and then it will give you the full list of everything, the codes, the amount you can get, max you can claim back, the training providers that will do that as well on some of them, and who the awarding bodies are as well.
Thanks, Pete. So another questions would be, we can claim for diplomas level 2 to 5, but if we are paying 5% and the government paying 95%, could we do that?
Oh, I honestly don't know about that one. That would be a question for NHS-BSA, because the government's paying 95%. You would need to double check that because technically they're already covering it. You might be able to claim back the 5%, but don't quote me on that because it's not guaranteed.
So we have another questions asking, how can we register with NHS-BSA? And Rich has kindly replied to say through websites and an online form, and they will call back within 2 weeks. Do you have anything to chip in on that, Pete?
No, definitely. Like I said, if register on there, if you do experience and you don't get the call back within 2 weeks, send them an email. Do go through and contact NHS-BSA directly. Don't wait for them to call you. Get in touch with them. Send the email through and say you registered, the date you registered, confirm that you claim you submitted all of the evidence that's required and all the information. NHS-BSA will check. It may be they've got a backlog. This is probably one of their busiest periods. A lot of people do register around now, but if they haven't rung you within 2 weeks, do send them an email just to check. They will give you a time slot and give you an update of when they will be calling you back.
Right. So another question would be, can you claim for diplomas if you have paid through the apprenticeship levy?
I don't think you can if you've done it through the levy, because I think the levy is a different pot. I don't think you can then claim the money back from that. We will double check that one and we will come back to you on that. So if you'd like us to do that, please do get in touch and we'll confirm that and get in touch with you directly around that one. I don't want to say yes or no without checking, but my understanding is no, you can't if it's under the levy.
And someone is asking, are you able to send out the charts after the call, please? And no worries on that. We will send our comms and maybe the slides if you want after this webinar. So keep an eye on your inbox later this afternoon. And so another question would be, can you go through what needs to be on the invoice and what needs to be on the receipt again, please, Pete?
Of course. So on the invoice, let's go back here. So the evidence requirements for LDSS, your proof of payment. Okay. So your proof of payment should reflect your invoice number because you're sending the invoice and the proof of payment. Your proof of payment must show the invoice number, how much was paid, and the date it was paid on. On the invoice, it needs to show the training course or qualification name, the amount paid. So like it says there, if it covers more than one learner, it needs to show the cost per learner. Okay. Doesn't need to be on the receipt. As long as that's on the invoice and the receipt has the invoice number, you can marry the two up and NHS-BSA will marry the two up. So the amount that's paid, the total number of people and the total, as well as the cost per individual. If you are a valid, you are VAT exempt, it will still show the valid VAT number for the organisation that you've purchased from, because if they're anything like Flourish, we are VAT registered, so we have to charge VAT. It will have our VAT number on there. If you have yours, you need to pop that in as evidence as well. If not, my understanding is you can claim back the full amount plus the VAT if you're VAT exempt. I've had a conversation with a couple of organisations and they are VAT exempt. They've claimed back the money and they can claim back the VAT as well. And then on that receipt, you need the date of payment. So the date that payment was made alongside the invoice number and the amount that has been paid. The two have to marry up. So if you have an invoice for £500 and you've been credited for £50 and you've paid £450, the amount that you will claim back is £450. Okay. So make sure you've got all of that information on your invoice and your receipt. If not, go back to your training provider and they can put all of that information in for you, and then they will resend that over to you as well. Everybody will as well also send you through a receipt. If they haven't done automatically, you can request one and they will get that sent through from there.
So we have a follow-up questions on the invoice. So someone is asking if my employee paid for her level 3 social care diploma by herself with invoice. How can I claim back the money as an employer?
Oh, that's a good question. I assume you've reimbursed the employee. Oh, yeah. That would probably be quite a complicated one. You may have to submit the employee's invoice and proof of payment, evidence that you've reimbursed the employee from your organization, and then submit that, but then you might not be guaranteed the money because you've not paid it directly, the individual's paid it directly, and the individual isn't registered on NHS-BSA or ASCWDS. I would gather all that information, that evidence, and contact NHS-BSA to see if you need anything additional. It's not guaranteed that you will get that money back because the individual's paid for it and you've not paid for it as an organization. So my advice, gather that evidence and reach out to NHS-BSA. I think that's generally, if you're in doubt, reach out to NHS-BSA. They will always help and always answer the questions. They generally come back within 2 working days when you do email them anyway. If they don't, follow them up.
Thanks, Pete. So we have a questions asking what part of the year does the funding reset?
So the funding runs from the 1st of April to the 31st of March the next year. So it's the 1st of April 2026 this year through until the 31st of March 2027. It's not guaranteed that funding will be available from 1st of April 2027. It's never guaranteed the funding. But the more people that complete ASCWDS, the more evidence we get for the government, the more that we demonstrate that funding's required. That's better evidence to push the government to fund for us.
Thank you, Pete. So another question is asking, is there a limit on how much you can claim back for the paid costs other than the 40-60%? Also, is there any contribution for paying staff to attend the course?
So if it's the Oliver McGowan pot, it's a max of £25,000 per eligible recipient is what NHS-BSA say on the guidance. Now, from what I've read, an eligible recipient is an organisation setting. So it's per setting. If it's the full fund and the other pot, the max you can claim is £400,000 per organisation. So if you are a national organisation and you have a single pot that you claim from, that is the max. Once you hit that limit, you can't claim anymore. you can only claim for what you have spent. So what the cost of the course is, there is no cover for sending learners to the courses or time spent away from the business, travel costs, anything like that. It is purely what you have spent on the actual qualification or the course.
Thank you, Pete. So one more question is asking, we run a daycare provision and are a charity. We are not CQC registered. Are we able to join the adult social care dataset?
I love this question. We get asked this quite a lot. You don't have to be CQC registered in order to claim the funding. You just have to provide an adult social care service in England to be able to claim. So if you're a day service and you're not CQC registered, but you are in England, you're providing an adult social care service, you directly employ care staff in England, then yes, you can claim back funding for anything you do.
We
Any other?
just have another question just pop up. So can you claim for Oliver McGowan the trainer, please?
I don't know honestly on that one. We might have to have a quick look at that one. As far as I'm aware, it's for the tier 1 webinar or the tier 2 face-to-face training. I'm not aware of any train the trainer, but we can double check that and have a look and find that out. I'm honestly not sure on that one, unfortunately.
So I don't think we have any more questions in the chat or Q&A, but if you guys have any further questions, please feel free to put it in.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And if anybody's interested in doing those leadership courses, there is a QR code there you can scan. You can get in touch with us. The team are more than happy to go through these courses with you. I would suggest have a look, get registered with NHS BSA, even if you look through the list of courses and you don't submit, get registered with them, get onto the system, get set up so that if you do find a course or something comes up later on in the year, there's a new course that comes out or a new qualification, you think, I'd like to do that, one of my team would like to do that, get registered, get your ASC WDS registered and compliant as well, so that you can complete and claim back funding through there. 100%. I always advocate for doing things like this. I appreciate it takes time. It might take someone away from the business. There can be a lot of effort involved, but obviously you get the money back and you get the funding back. The more you do it, the easier it will get from there. Okay. But thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate you all taking your time out of your day to join us on this webinar. And we will be sharing the slides later on. I'm sure we'll have the recording posted up on our socials as well. So if you're not following us on socials, find us on LinkedIn or Facebook or X or any of the other social media platforms that are out there and follow us. If you do have any other questions, please do get in touch with us. We are more than happy to help out and answer any questions and go through things with you. So thank you very much, everybody. We really appreciate it. Hope you all found it really useful, and we look forward to doing the next one with you. Thank you
Sorry,
very
Pete,
much.
we just have two last minute questions.
Oh, okay.
So one of them is asking, do you know what courses we can claim for from the levy pot?
Not from the levy pot. No, we would need to check that. Anything from the levy, we need to double check if you can claim funding through it. You can obviously use your levy to book any of the courses, but whether you can claim back, we would need to double check that one for you.
So one is asking, who should we contact regarding updating our information on ASC WDS, change of company name?
So if you have an ASC WDS existing account, I believe you should be able to change most things through your account. If not, you need to get in touch with the Skills for Care ASCWDS team. There is a specific team on their website. There's a contact email, and I think there's a phone number for them. And they can make any changes through there. You may need to submit it in writing with evidence of a name change as well, if it's an organisational name change.
Yep, we have a last questions asking, will you be able to send the approved list of funded course along with the slides? We will definitely share the slides, but for the approved list of funded course, could we send over the list, please?
Yeah, so the list is on the website. So we will find the link of the approved list of courses, and we will include that within the comms and on the posts for the full list of courses on there that are approved.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's all from our Q&A. Thanks,
Amazing.
Pete.
Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you have a good rest of your days. Take care, and we will hopefully speak to you soon. Thank you very much.